A few things that I'd like to discuss before we do open the meeting is that the fire exits are to the rear, to my right, and to my left. If you have any cell phones or audio equipment, I would like it to be put on vibrate so the meeting not be interrupted. Okay? I think I did it right. I'm not too good with these fantastic gadgets. At this point in time, I'd like to ask you to stand, please, and recite the Pledge of Allegiance. If anybody is wearing a hat, I'd like you to remove it, please. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, for those people who didn't get warrants, there are 50 copies that John has. There were a few people who didn't receive warrants today. Please, one copy per couple would be good, John. You know, a husband and a wife could share or whatever. Okay, so to go over a few procedures, just so that you people understand once again, if you're going to make any motion or any substitute motion, I need a copy of that motion to be presented to me in writing, and that's all motions with the exception of a move the question motion. I don't need that in writing, obviously. Okay? Just one per. All people are to address the meeting through the moderator. You need to give your name and address when you come up here to speak. I will try to take you in order as I have in the past. There will be no hissing, booing, hawing, heckling, calling out. There will be no innuendos to personalities. I don't want to hear any personal issues whatsoever of any kind. This is a business meeting. We have business articles. We do not have personal issues, and I don't want personal issues. Okay? If there are people who are handicapped and cannot get to the microphone and wish to speak, they need to get my attention. Let me know that they are handicapped, and I will see that you get a microphone brought to you so you can have your say. Okay, if you're wishing to speak and the speaker comes forward to speak, the rest of you that wish to speak, you don't have to wait until they finish. You come forward first and sit in this front row, please, right here in front of me. I will try to take you in the order in which I see that you come down here. I cannot guarantee that I will be 100% right, and I think we can all respect one another and work together with this.
I don't know what happened there.
I'm going to read this here one more time. I've read it a couple times before, and I'm going to read it. Not in the front row, sir, please. Thank you. I'd like to hope that it would mean something to all of us. I know that it does mean something to many of us, and it probably means nothing to some of us, and that's a shame. Okay, because it really should mean something. We have come together in civil assembly as a community, in a tradition that is older than our state itself. We come together to make decisions about our community. As we deliberate, let us advocate for our positions, but not at the expense of others. Let us remember that there is an immense gap between saying I am right and saying I believe I am right. And that our neighbors with whom we disagree are good people with hopes and dreams as true and as high as ours. And let us always remember that in the end, caring for each other in this community is of far greater importance than any difference we may have. Welcome. Article 1, please.
Mr. Moderator, move that the motion adopted by the town pursuant to Article 5 of the special town meeting of October 30th, 1961, be hereby amended by changing the words 7 members to 5 members, and by adding the following language. The Conservation Commission shall be reduced from 7 members to 5 members by attrition through the expiring of members' terms or resignation of members.
Second.
Before we start discussion, is there a reason why you want me to reread this motion, or did you hear it adequately? Did you understand it, or do you wish me to reread each motion as we go along? Okay, then you understand it? Okay, I will then now start discussion on this motion. Is there somebody who wishes to speak? Virginia, would you like to speak? Oh, I'm sorry. Advisory board?
The advisory,
Because it won't be that long, I hope.
yeah, the advisory board unanimously recommends a yes vote.
Thank you.
I have a question. When this was brought up before, it was determined that we couldn't do this because it was in our bylaws as requiring 7. So if they're going to do this, they may have to think about changing the bylaw.
That's what the article is.
That's what they're doing here, is attempting to change the bylaw, Virginia. Is there any other discussion on this motion? All those in favor of this motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Okay, the motion passes at 7:12 p.m. Article 2, please.
Mr. Moderator, move that $45,987.76 be hereby appropriated for the snow and ice removal expense account, and to meet this appropriation, $45,987.76 be transferred from free cash in the treasury of the town.
Second.
The advisory board?
Mr. Moderator, the advisory board unanimously recommends a yes vote for the following reason. FY13 deficit due at the end of the FY year, or the state will reduce this amount from the FY14 cherry sheet payment to the town. This will not occur next year, as FY13 snow and ice was not reduced from the previous year's budget like it had done in the past. FY14 snow and ice budget will be the same as 13 and is deficit, which can be rolled over into the FY15 budget.
Okay, now, Sean, did you have something you'd like to say, please?
Just a question. Sean Hamilton, 538 Berry Road. Just a question. He mentioned that this was from free cash.
Correct.
It's been certified.
Yes.
We had an article in the paper yesterday said
That's
that.
what I've been told.
Well, that's, do we have
Yes, has been certified for the department.
we have proof? We have the B1 form back. We have proof, because as of yesterday, you said it hadn't been done yet. I got an article in the paper said yesterday it had not been done yet. I mean, if it's been certified, I'd just like to know how much it is. That's all.
$100,000 exactly. It was certified about 10 days ago, an email from Jerry Perry.
Okay. Okay. The article's wrong. 100,000 is the total figure they're working with tonight, correct? Okay, thank you.
John? Okay, thank you. Is there any further discussion on the motion? If none, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes at 7:15 p.m. Article 3, please.
Mr. Moderator, move that $35,000 be appropriated for veterans' benefits, and to meet this appropriation, $35,000 be transferred from free cash in the treasury of the town.
Seeing no, advisory board.
Mr. Moderator, the advisory board unanimously recommends a yes vote on this article.
Thank you.
Okay.
Apparently seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of this motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes at 7:16.
Mr. Moderator, Mike Dixon, 465 Patriots Road. I'd like to make a motion to reconsider Article 1. We didn't have any discussion about why we were doing this, and we voted on it so quickly.
Is there a second to that motion? Second. There's been a motion made and seconded to reconsider Article 1. Okay? If you vote in favor of it, then we will reconsider the article. If we vote against it, then we won't reconsider the article. We will continue on with the next article, which would be Article 4. All those in favor of reconsidering Article 1, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed?
No.
I'm sorry, but reconsideration has been defeated. At 7:18. Article 4, please. By the way, I was remiss in letting you people know that this meeting is being televised over cable. Okay? I just want you to be aware that they are here. They're in the back of the room, and they are, taping this meeting, so for the cable purposes. Okay? Thank you. I was remiss in telling you that earlier. Okay, Article 4, please.
Mr. Moderator, move that $14,000 be appropriated into the town's stabilization fund, and to meet this appropriation, $14,000 be transferred from free cash in the treasury of the town.
Mr. Moderator. Mr. Moderator.
Okay, advisory board, please.
Mr. Moderator, the advisory board unanimously recommends a yes vote for this. Since there is no money in the stabilization account as of March last meeting, this was due to an accounting area which the DOR advised that MEMA money, the ice storm money that we received as a one-time payment, could not be used for the FY13 budget.
Okay, thank you. Kate, did you have something you wanted to say on this matter?
Kate Fulton, Bridge Street. Really just a question. It may have been answered, but I do remember in March when we voted at the special town meeting to remove all funds from the stabilization account, which I know is a very bad thing for all towns. You need to have a a stabilization account. And I'm wondering now if this is going to be legal. Are we going to be shot down by the Attorney General?
What, put the certified free cash in the stabilization or the balance?
Yeah,
No, I don't
that's
think
all
so.
right.
It's fine to do that.
All right.
You can go ahead and do that.
Okay, good.
I thank you for your question, and,
Yeah.
okay,
All right, thank you.
all right. John, you got something you want to say?
Mr. Moderator, John Columbus, 197 Patriots Road.
Yes.
Given that this is a stabilization article, does it require a two-thirds
Requires a
approval?
two-thirds vote on this particular article, John. We do have another article later on in this warrant will require, I believe, a 9/10, but I'm not 100% sure.
Thank you.
Most of them are majority, this is a two-thirds, okay? All right, seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of this article, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? It carries by two-thirds at 7:21 p.m.
I'll take that one.
Article 5, please.
Mr. Moderator, move that $5,000 be hereby appropriated for the town coordinator to expend for professional services to determine the potential of using performance contracting for town buildings, and to meet this appropriation, $5,000 be transferred from free cash in the treasury of the town.
Mr. Moderator, the advisory board recommends a yes vote for the following reasons. Performance contracting, which can help identify energy savings in town buildings to help reduce the cost of energy, and can be prioritized for the best and fastest return for building improvements and saving town money. The Department of Energy Resources, DEWR, and the energy service company, ESCO, guarantee that the savings and energy savings, and if they do not materialize, ESCO pays half the difference in the savings.
Virginia, you were first, I believe, and then David, what did you second?
First of all, I think this article is once again a blatant attempt to override the will of the people. At the annual town meeting, a vote was taken, and it was by a great margin rejected by the people in order to use money to redo the East Templeton School for a town office. Now, instead of using CPC money, they're switching over to performance contracting, and I don't think people have a good idea really about performance contracting can be a bigger problem than it is an asset. The University of Lowell in Massachusetts and the town of Winchendon, the town of Millborough, all received big fines because in many circumstances it is an attempt to override or pass over the procurement laws and prevailing wage laws. So it's something, once again, the East Templeton School is not going to be big enough to house all town offices. So do we want to spend a whole lot of money on that? I don't think so.
Okay, Virginia, thank you. David?
Good evening, everybody. My name is David Smart. I live at 14 South Main Street, East Templeton. Mr. Moderator, I stand before you tonight in support of the renovations of the former East Templeton School. I attended my first year in Narragansett Regional School System there in 1970. This building has paid for itself over and over. It owes us nothing, and payments are zero now. Many volunteers, including myself, have worked with Mr. Spring on cleaning and removal of the items for an evaluation to be done. Last fall, we put a tarpaulin over the leaks of the roof to prevent further damage and preserve and protect it. The damage has been limited to minimal. I was one of that helped with the roof job and was amazed at how good a shape the building was still in. Getting all the town needs in one building would increase efficiency and cut overhead, saving taxpayer money. The size of the building is more than the space we now use for all our needs and with extra to spare. It will be an added plus to the function of Templeton business being all together. Staff cooperation with improvements and add efficiency needed in Templeton. If fully pursued and supported, Templeton can be more efficient and have a building with character in a town that needs a positive change and approach. It's cost savings project like this that will put Templeton on a much better road to recovery. Please join us in support of the former East Templeton School project. I thank Mr. Spring for his endless devotion to the town of Templeton. Renting makes no sense for a town hall.
Thank you, David. You all done now? Thank you. Beverly?
Hi there, guys. I'm Beverly Bartolomeo. I live on 686 South Road, Templeton. East Templeton deserves to have a town hall. They deserve a nice building where the majority of our offices can be under one roof. The rent went up down at Athol Road from $49,000 a year to $87,000. We have been throwing money away every year that we spend time there. There's no justification for turning this down. This is something that will be good for the people in the community, for the businesses in the community, and for the people as a whole. When they need to find an office, they will have a building to go to, not 3 or 4. So I think that this is something I think should happen, but it's up to you. You're the taxpayer.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Pete Farrell, 24 Myrtle Street. I also like the idea of having the town hall over in East Templeton. I don't think we need bigger buildings for bigger government. I think we need smaller buildings for smaller government. I think this building is already paid for. If it was me, I'd move in tomorrow. Could I move the question? Could I move the question?
No. Okay, Julie, you were next. Then,
Okay.
no, he has already spoken. You're going to speak next. And I just, after Julie, you're going to speak next. Then it's going to be Isaac, then it's going to be Dana, and then it's going to be Virginia. Nobody speaks twice until everybody has the opportunity to speak once. Julie?
I believe East Templeton is a building that we could look at. The motion was to look at performance contracting for all town buildings. We have a number of town buildings that are in various states of disrepair. I believe performance contracting, if we look at it as a feasibility, this money is not to enter into a contract for performance contracting. It's to explore the possibility of performance contracting. Once you do the requests for quotes or the requests for information, you select a company that does performance contracting and they do an audit of the buildings. It costs about 7 to 10 cents per square foot to do an audit of the buildings. We have a number of buildings in town. East Templeton is one. We have a couple of buildings on Elm Street, 2 School Street. We have the food pantry. There are a number of buildings in town that are town buildings. What this would do would give us the information, would give the town the information to decide what to do with these buildings before they fall in around people's heads. It's also an option to look at the elementary school buildings because we are responsible for Templeton Center and for Baldwinville. And year after year, we've tried to bring proposals to fix the roof at Templeton Center, to fix the soffits, to paint the windows, or to replace the windows. And year after year, it gets shot down, and kids are in these buildings with leaky roofs in not very good conditions. This is an option to explore what can be done and how to do it, and what the costs would be associated for these projects. That's why I support this article, to gather the information that we need so that we can make a reasonable decision on what to do.
So am I to understand that this is a question, this is not just for a specific building, this would be for multiple buildings in the community, the top of government, that by private society?
That was in the motion.
Doesn't make any difference.
And the motion that I have, and I will read this motion, move that the $5,000 be hereby appropriated for the town coordinator to expend for professional services to determine the potential of using performance contracting for the town building, and to meet this appropriation, $5,000 to be transferred from free cash in the treasury of the town. It was not just for each company. The motion I have written in front of me says for the town buildings. Now that's a warrant. Remember, I told you that's a warrant, that's not exactly what the motion is, okay? Now, Mr. Columbus,
Are you going to allow people to yell from the floor, like I just did?
did they ask for performance contracting, or bonding, or performance contracting in the motion? Right, but it's been revised as far as the motion is concerned. And that's acceptable, it's within the parameters.
No, you don't have motions at pre-town.
All right, now, Mr. Columbus, you were next. You have something you wanted to say?
Just to take and talk about the articles.
My name is Bob Columbus, 17 Main Street, Otter River. In the motion that we have handed out tonight, it only says performance contracting for East Templeton. And also a previous speaker said that it'd be nice to get all the town departments into one building. I do not believe that all departments go into East Templeton School. Okay. There is also many issues with that building. Besides being 80 years old, it's going to have to conform to handicap accessible and everything else. I think you're getting into several $1 million or more when you start rebuilding these types of buildings.
Thank you, Mr. Columbus.
I'm not.
Did you have something more you wish to say? Okay, well, all right. As long as it's through here, I'll go along.
Yes, several years ago, there was two committees, one from the school committee and one from the select board, with one of the former superintendents of the school system. And we looked at those schools. That was at the in the early beginnings of looking for a new elementary school, to build a new elementary school. And the three elementary schools, of the three, East Templeton was in the worst shape. So I don't think it's worth putting a dime into that building. If we're going to put any money, let's put it into 252 Ballinville Road.
Let's try this. Isaac Matson, 29 Central Street, Baldwinville, Mass. So the article that we're looking at does say East Templeton, so I understand the confusion there, but I'm going to speak towards the article that was read up here. This $5,000 is going to go towards any town buildings. The question I have, though, is just last year, before the annual town meeting and during the annual town meeting, we cut back hours for multiple employees in town. Multiple departments are not open on certain days. Multiple employees lost their jobs last year. Why are we putting money forward to possibly look at something up in the air, pie in the sky, when we have employees and workers in this town who are, number one, not being paid, Number 2, have lost jobs. And number 3, we as the citizens don't have access to those services. Thank you very much.
Is there anything you wish to say, Peter? Okay.
Mr. Moderator, I'd like to move the question, please.
Okay. There's been a motion to move the question. All those in favor of moving this question, please signify by saying yes or aye. All those opposed? No. Okay, the question has been moved. Now, all those in favor of Article 4, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, I'm going to ask for a show of hands. Whoa, hold it. Now, listen here, folks. Let's not start because I'm not going to put up with it, okay? Thank you. Now, I ask for a show of hands, please. All those in favor of this article, please raise your right hand. Article 5. Okay. Okay, thank you. All those that are opposed, the motion has been defeated at 7:37 p.m. Thank you. Hold your applause, please. Article 6, please.
Mr. Moderator, move that a new bylaw, Article 55, Municipal Water Department, Section 1, be adopted and added to the general bylaws of the town as set forth below. Article 55, Municipal Water Department, Section 1, consistent with Chapter 93 of the Massachusetts Acts of 2000, the Water Department and Light Plant shall be named the Templeton Municipal Light and Water Plant. The Water Department and the Light Plant shall keep separate books of accounts, and the Water Department shall operate as an enterprise fund consistent with Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53, F and a half, until changed by law. The manager of the Templeton Municipal Light and Water Plant shall annually, not less than 120 days prior to the expiration of the fiscal year, furnish to the Board of Selectmen a detailed estimate in writing of the appropriations required during the next succeeding fiscal year for the proper exercise and performance of all rights and duties, so the town may vote the same.
Mr. Moderator. Yes, Mr. Moderator. The advisory board recommends a yes vote for the following reason. This bylaw will be acted upon by Attorney General, and it will be at no cost to the town to clarify whether or not the town water department is an enterprise and allow the citizens to vote and have a voice in its running.
Okay, Paul, you were sitting first, and it was Peter, then it was Beverly, then it was Shaw. If somebody remembers it differently, you can question me, but I'm not going to change my mind.
Mr. Moderator, my name is Paul Quattrochi. I live at 2 Military Drive, Templeton, Mass. Still, I haven't moved, except for the last week we've lived in York Beach. We came back for this special meeting because we feel it was important. And, Mr. Moderator, I don't know about you and I don't know about this assembly, but I think we're all getting a little tired of rehashing stuff we've already voted down. Now, We have a water department and we have an electric company. I think we have the two best in the state. And I think someone's trying to fix something that's not broke. And I'm tired of it. And I'm tired of voting on the same damn articles when we voted them down. I am not for this article. I don't believe the selectmen should have the authority over those two departments. I don't think they have the knowledge or the time. I think the selectmen have a great deal of work to do. They have a great many projects to finish. I am not in favor of this article. Please vote it down.
Pete Farrell, 24 Myrtle Street. Take the total opposite opinion as Paul. I think you have a system of checks and balances that come with any type of government structure if it's going to be successful. Part of the checks and balances on the Light and Water Department are the selectmen and the advisory board. I don't think that they feel comfortable with what's going on down there as far as the accounting goes. By having an avenue such as the enterprise system here, thanks, Dave. I think this needs to be done. I think it's not going to hurt anybody to have this go to the Attorney General's office. It's not going to cost the town any money, and it'll put this issue to rest. I think we need to get behind our advisory board and our selectmen who are trying to do their fiduciary duty to make sure that things are all copacetic down at the Light and Water Department. Thank you.
Okay, I'm Beverly Bartolomeo, South Road, Templeton. Article 6 creates a new bylaw. There should be no problem with the Light and Water Department and the Select Board approving this article. The article is the most fair and most sensible way to bring this enterprise issue to a rest, for once and for all. This is the fairest for the customers of the Water Department, who in the end will be paying the freight. What's the old saying? If you are in a hole, stop digging. $65,000 plus is deep enough. The Attorney General will make the final decision on who's right and who's wrong. All of this upset will be hammered out by them, and we're going to have to accept her decision. Thank you.
Mr. Moderator.
Sean Hamilton, 538 Berry Road. I respectfully disagree with that statement there, because we don't need... Oh. Can you hear me now? Yep. I respectfully disagree with that last statement. We don't need the Attorney General to run Templeton. We can do it ourselves. We have an electoral process. There's an electoral process in place that we elect the Board of Selectmen to run the town. We elect the Light and Water Commissioners to run the Light and Water. If we have a concern with the way the Light and Water is being run, you can change the commissioners and bring in new commissioners. If you don't like the way the Selectmen run the town, you can change Selectmen. We all have that every time we need it. No, that's we don't need that. This town's divided enough. This article and the way it's written, I disagree with the way it's written. I can't believe the attorney accepted it, because it says consistent with, and it keeps referring to consistent with. It's not consistent with Chapter 93 Acts of 2000. It's very inconsistent. That took it away from the Board of Selectmen back in 2000 because you had 43% losses. Funds were a thing. Things weren't working. It's working right. It's doing well. Yes, we incurred some debt in the process of doing that, and that was no secret to anybody. Everyone was told that when we started that on day one in year 2000. It was no secret. We had to put the filtration plant in. We had to rebuild the infrastructure. You have better firefighting capabilities now. You have qualified, trained employees. You have what you need to run two great departments that are in town. Don't mess it up. We have a great thing going.
Mr. Moderator. Mr. Moderator. I've been trying to get your attention so that I may speak to this issue. Okay, well, Mr. Dixon's going to move the question. Thank you. I appreciate it. After I speak, I would like our town council, Paul Durensis, to explain this article. Thank you. This article creates a bylaw. Contrary to what Mr. Hamilton stated, it is not inconsistent with the special legislation that was passed. This creates a bylaw, which, if approved, will become part of the bylaws of the town of Templeton. It's a bylaw. It's not special legislation. It deals with enterprise funds. Enterprise funds are a form of accounting. That's all they do. They tell you all the money for sewer, which is an enterprise, stay with the sewer department. All the money for the water department that's raised, stay with the water department. It's an accounting mechanism. Right now, there's an issue of whether or not the water budget needs town meeting appropriation. We have been told, the selectmen have been told, that it's just a formality. That you're being here right now, it's just a formality. It's non-binding. It's advisory. Your vote here tonight on the next articles, they're just advisory. They're non-binding. They don't mean anything. By sending this bylaw, no, I'm not. If this town meeting adopts this bylaw, it is sent to the Attorney General to settle the issue of what type of enterprise this enterprise is for the water department. I have asked repeatedly what section of 164 covers enterprise accounts. I have yet to receive an answer. Now I would like Attorney Durensis to weigh in. I would like you to explain what this article will do, the process, and why we put it on, and why you drafted it.
The article before you deals with one issue. And that issue is, do you, as the voters of the town, have a right to vote? Or have you given that right up? That's the only issue. It has nothing to do. Oh, shut up out there. This has nothing to do with whether the selectmen are in charge, or the water commission is in charge, or the light commission is in charge. That's not what this article is about. What this article is about is whether you have the right to vote. The statute that was passed in 2000, Chapter 93, says that the Water Commission shall operate as an enterprise fund. Under the general laws, an enterprise fund is one that is voted by the voters at town meeting. The lawyer for the Light Commission has taken the position that because there's a reference to the powers of the Light Commission, that means you've all given up your right to vote that budget. You all have been voting the budget from 2000, the year 2000, until right now. So some lawyer or the Light Commission now says, no, what's been going on for 13 years is wrong, that you should not have any right to vote those appropriations. What this article does is make it clear that you have the right to vote the budget for the Water Commission. Now, if that lawyer is correct, the lawyer for the Light Commission, the Attorney Attorney General will disallow this bylaw, the effect being you have no right to vote. If that lawyer is wrong, and what you've been doing for 13 years, since 2000, year 2000, if that is correct, the Attorney General will approve this bylaw. That will settle once and for all. Do you have the right to vote? Or do you not? The only other alternative is for everybody to sue everybody. And for years, have this in courts with legal fees and everything else, and let some judge decide whether or not you ought to have the right to vote. That's what this article is.
Thank you.
Dana, you have something you want to say?
Yeah, I'm Dana Blaze, 20 Turner Street. I'm also chairman of the Light and Water Commission. I think back in 2003, or I'll even go back even farther than that. I'm going to go back to over 100 years ago when Chapter 93 was written, 164 was written. And it was written by the legislators, and they knew that a light department was a very important part of the town. That's right. I'm talking about 164 that the water department runs under. I'm just going to, and their point there was that it's such an important part of town that it's not supposed to be run and the revenues from that department to run others. And the money's supposed to stay in there. And I just think and that's the way that Action 93 was written, that it runs underneath the same 164 that the light department has. And the simple reason is because, yeah, there's some debt. We incurred a lot of debt, but we're paying off like 40 years of neglect that was never done. And another thing there, too, is the only way you can have these, they said enterprise, but enterprise, we are an enterprise. We run on everything, all our receipts that we take in operate the water department. Granted, the 60 homes that are empty, the Fernal School, we're not selling water like we used to. And with the major breaks that we've been having over the years from before 2000, when the water department took it over, we're paying for those now, ladies and gentlemen. So as far as changing things, the way I look at my vision is that the water department, under the same configuration, 164 that the light department runs under, in years to come, it'll be just as efficient and just as well maintained. But we took over a department that needed a lot of help, and we're making it work. It's not cheap. We spent $7 or $8 million to bring it where it is today. And to change it would be a bad thing to do, and it would never ever run the same, because the budgets would be scrutinized. No one's getting rich over there. And granted, it costs you money for this water, but everybody pays, and we don't have the luxury of having the taxpayers pay for it.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Tom Jelinuski, South Main Street. I would respectfully request that those rude people out back that heckled Mr. Durensis and other people be asked to quiet down or asked to have them removed, please. Some of us would like to hear both sides of these issues without the heckling. Thank you.
I'm doing the best I can to try and control the heckling. I continue to try. If I can signal off a single individual, I will have them removed if they seem to continue to want to do this. Mr. Jelinuski, I'm very sorry that you had to say that, but I appreciate you saying it, okay? Mr. Hill.
Yes, Mr. Moderator.
You are.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Very good. I'm here. Oh, yeah, Martin Haley from South Road. This is my first time I ever got up and spoke. Yeah. So this article here is really all it's saying is, and I think it's right, because why shouldn't I be told what the light, or while we're talking water department, why shouldn't I be told or be able to vote on what they're spending? It's my water company. It's the town's water company. It's yours. It's mine. It's not the commissioners. They don't own it. We do. So why shouldn't we know? And that's all this is going to do, is make them accountable that they have to tell us what their budget is. Why are they so special? Every department in this town has to submit a budget. And why are they so different? And why do they want to be different? You would think they'd want to help us. Thank you.
Thank you, Marty. And you just came down. You haven't spoken on it yet, Sean, if you don't mind. And I'll let you go, okay?
Dave Smart, 14 South Main Street, East Templeton. I'd just like to bring to our attention that we have a legislation or an investigation going on now as to how the water department was formed. Let's not forget last year we voted that in. There's 4 investigations going on. That's got part of it.
Okay, thank you. Sean, one more time.
Okay, real quick, I just want to point out one thing. It was questioned why the budget comes before the body with the authority that the selectmen have, I mean the commissioners have. That budget does affect the tax, budget the town allowed for bond ratings, for debt ceilings. The debt that the water department takes on does affect how the towns operate in the bond rating. So it's a courtesy that budget comes before. It was discussed back in 2001 whether to continue bringing it forward. And it was thought to bring it forward because of the amount of debt. You could see what it was. You could see it hopefully go down every year. And that was the original intent of why that budget still remains on the floor. So just to answer the attorney's question of why it was still on the floor, that's why, so you can see the debt.
All right, I appreciate the clarification, Sean. Mr. Mitchell, I guess you were next. And Peter?
Yeah, Bob Mitchell, 326 Royalston Road. You know, I just live in this town, and I'm not a water customer. But I'm kind of sick about hearing about the water because I never thought that it belonged where it is now anyways.
Okay.
And so we may have to resolve that down the road, but right now we have to resolve this one issue of whether or not they're going to tell us how the budget is being spent. I think we have a right to know, and I think we want to keep that right to know. So I hope you will all vote to approve this because this is only the right to know.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Peter.
My name's Peter Burney. I live on Pleasant Street in Baldwinville. My take on the whole issue, it sounds to me like there's a concern of possible misuse of funds or whatever, something like that, that I do not think is occurring. And I think if there's an issue with money, isn't that what we have CPAs for, to designate and find out if anything is being used improperly? And if I needed to know my experience with the water department, anytime I need any information, any help or whatever, they've been more than forthcoming, and I don't see the big issue here that it's a major concern that they're so secretive. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Washington?
And I'm not speaking to either encourage you to vote for this or against this, but I just want to clear up kind of why, at least me, why I voted to have this on the warrant. So the problem is that as you know, at annual town meeting, the town voted down the water budget. It's been voting the water budget for over a decade. The attorney from Light and Water is telling us that that vote is just advisory, it doesn't matter. So really, you should have never been voting on the water budget. That's what we were told. So our council is telling us that no, that is not correct. We cannot sign warrant articles because the town, for light and water, or for water, because the town has not appropriated funds. By law, if our council is telling us that that for you to do this is illegal, we can't do it. So we need someone that has more power than the select board or the attorneys to tell us, should we sign this? That's really what, at least for me, the legal issue is, because if we don't sign the water, let's say a budget doesn't pass tonight. If we don't sign those warrant articles, right, then we have Light and Water saying they're going to shut off the water for everyone and they're going to sue the town. If we do sign those without a budget being appropriated, any of you can sue us as the Board of Selectmen saying you are spending money that we did not appropriate for you to spend. So that is the issue. I don't care either way, but that is why at least I voted to have this on here, so I legally know what I am to do. Thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, Dana Blaze again. I just want to let everybody know in this audience that we do turn in a budget every year. We do turn a budget into advisory board. This year was extensive budgets. Every year they get the numbers that they need.